The AFC has 5 teams who have already clinched a playoff spot, and the Chargers are pretty much going to get the 6th seed as they have the Patriots and the Raiders left on their schedule. The final seed is between 4 teams: the Broncos, Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals. Which of these 4 teams would be the biggest threat in the playoffs and to possibly upsetting the Bills? Let's rank them. At number 4 is the Indianapolis Colts. Indy is basically just benefiting from the weak schedule. They get to play in the AFC South, and all season long, Indy is just beaten up on bad teams. But when they faced good to just average teams, the Colts really aren't that much. When you take away their running game, this team's very one-dimensional. Their quarterback play hasn't been very good. Their defense is pretty weak. And if they were to go against the Bills, they would likely get steamrolled. Number 3 is the Miami Dolphins. Similar to the Colts, the Dolphins beat up on bad teams and they lose to good teams. They can also be very one-dimensional at times, but what makes Miami better than Indy is that they have a much better coach and they have decent quarterback play. The defense has been able to make stops when necessary and has been more in the trenches than the Colts. The Dolphins do have a better roster than Indy, and the last time they played Buffalo, they put up a pretty good game. They nearly won, but as history has shown, the Dolphins have never won a wildcard game in the McDaniels era, and the Bills have had Miami's number. The Dolphins would have a puncher's chance, but it isn't necessarily safe enough pick for them to actually beat the Bills. Number 2 is the Denver Broncos. The Broncos have been one of the biggest surprise teams this year. The Broncos have a very elite defense, Bo Nix has been solid, and Sean Payton has been a great coach. In a matchup against the Bills, the Broncos defense can do a lot of damage. If they can shut down the running game and put all the pressure on Josh Allen, the Broncos could potentially come out with a victory in Buffalo. But as we've seen, Josh Allen has been probably the best player in the NFL, and the Broncos don't have enough offensive threats to really push this Bills defense. The Bills would most likely come out, but the Broncos are actually a decent chance to pull off the upset. By far the biggest threat of these 4 teams, at number 1, the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincy has had an unbelievable season from Burrow, Chase, and Hendrickson. However, the biggest reason why the Bengals have a losing record is their defense has been absolutely atrocious. The Bengals, however, they've lost 7 games by 1 possession. They've always been a team more built for the playoffs than the regular season. They're star-studded, but they have major holes. A team like that is more suited for the playoffs than they are the regular season. If the Bengals make the playoffs, a lot of teams would not want to play Cincy. And in a matchup against the Bills, the Bengals offense can shred the Bills defense. This is a major upset alert for the Bills if the Bengals get in and make the playoffs. The Bengals are by far the best team of these 4 and the biggest threat to the Bills and anyone else if they can make the upset. So to recap, the power rankings goes 4 Colts, 3 Dolphins, 2 Broncos, and 1 Bengals as the biggest threat of these 4 teams.